Hi, my name is James Kluge, and I'm the author of this book right here, the Kabbalah of Numerals, which I'll be speaking about in this particular video. And it's about the Kabbalah, but it's a facet of the Kabbalah that a lot of people are not aware of. And some people are aware of it, but it's not necessarily doesn't necessarily delve into the spiritual end of the Kabbalah. It gets more into the mundane end of the Kabbalah, which is practical, useful in everyday life. And not that the spiritual isn't useful in everyday life, it certainly is, but this particular phase of the Kabbalah has to do a lot with the letters in the alphabet. Started out with the letters in the Hebrew alphabet, and one of my predecessors, the actual real teacher of this science, his name was Joseph Oliver de Vincent, started it in around 1932 or 30 to 35 in there. I'm not exactly sure of the year, but anyway, he started this thing. He has 12 different lessons on it, and it's in the Library of Congress in Washington. And I've never been there and never seen it, but I have had this information passed down to me through his students, one of his students. And so I actually went and wrote a book about it. I think I'm the only one that's ever written a book, an actual book on the subject that has been published, and I published it myself. And I want to talk a little bit about that today and how interesting it is to me, and also, and I think it should be interesting to a lot of other people. A lot to do with letters and the vibrations of the letters and how they can affect you in your daily life, and how they do actually affect you. So let's start with the letter A, for instance. If you have a letter A in your name, then that means that, or it can indicate that you, at some time or another, when you're going to be living in this vibration of the letter A, then you're going to become more independent. So that gives you one example of how the letter A would work in a person's name. So you have an A in your name. Most people have an A in their name, believe it or not. Some people don't, you won't find one A in their name. Doesn't mean they don't have a certain amount of independence, but because they'll find other, venues of getting independent rather than just having an A, to help them out. But A, for instance, in a girl's name would either maybe attract a man into her life at a certain time in her life, or it would make her more of less of a tomboy. In other words, somebody who would be apt to play kids' games or boys' games rather than girls' games. And so this is an indication of how that kind of worked. It's an independent, free spirit type of vibration. That's just the letter A. You have a lot of letters in the alphabet, and some of the letters attract money. Some attract. Actually, some are karmic letters and attract a time in your life when you will probably go through financial losses, actually. So you have some letters that attract money and bring money in. You have some letters that bring financial losses in. This can't be helped because this is the way people are made. They attract their karma through their name. And when they attract their name into this life, it's like attracting a suitcase full of baggage, or baggage full of a certain amount of karmic residue coming from other lives. And so what we do is we attract a way to work out this karma, and we attract the name that's going to help us work out this karma. So if you have an A in your name, that's going to be what I just got through repeating. Things like that are going to happen. But say if you had a T or an H or an N, or TH and N and E. Those are all letters that attract money, now E not so much, but because that's a vowel and it's more of a spiritual vibration, and it's more like a love vibration, but it still can attract money because there's intellect there. There's intelligence, a lot of intelligence in that letter, as well as the letter T is power, and the letter H is money through unexpected gain, and the letter N is money through hard work. So you just got those. If you got any of those letters in your name, T, H, N, E, then there's a good chance during that phase of your life, whenever you're in that letter, that you're going to attract more money, more financial. You're going to maybe invest in the stock market, or you're going to do something, you're going to have a windfall come into your life. There's certain things that can happen to you. Now, when I say it's certain phases in your life, what I mean is you're actually going to live through the whole name, starting with the first letter of your name, and so many years in that, and the second letter, so many years in that, third letter, so many years in that. And there is a way that you can find out what letter you're actually living in or vibrating to at the present time. And I've done that. I put that in my book. My book is, by the way, the name of my book is The Kabbalah of Numerals, and it's by me, James Kluge, and it has in the back, it has a chart right here. It has a graph, which is a graph you can use. This is available on Amazon.com, by the way. And it has from anywhere from 8 letters in your name all the way up to 28 letters in your name. And then you put your name. Say if your name has 16, letters in it, then you put these numbers over your name, over the letters of your name, and this would equivalent to the first one being you would live 4 years and 8 months in the first letter of your name. Say if that was letter A, you'd live in that A for 4 years and 8 months, and so on and so forth. So this is transcribed all the way across, and then you'd find out, okay, I'm like 40 years old right now, so how old, where would that put me in my name? So you'd look across until you're 40, and you'd see where 40 lies in here, and that would be the letter you were in. Whatever letter falls under that, that would be the letter you're in. So it's really important if you wanted to do that. You could do it by yourself. Just take 75 years, which is the average lifespan, and divide it by the letters, the number of letters in your name. So you don't need to buy this book. But it would be nice if you did buy the book, because if you did, then you would have the whole thing. This is actually a textbook to teach you how to do all of this stuff. A lot more than I'm just talking about in this particular video today. But what I'm trying to do today is just teach you that there is a value to every letter. And so you have your money letters that attract money, you have your letters that attract loss, financial loss. 2 big ones, or 3 big ones actually, would be the letter X, and the letter M, and the letter D. And the letter X is financial loss through making dumb mistakes, through doing what you think is the grand thing to do at the time, but it doesn't turn out that well, Such as for instance, we'll put it this way, there is an X in the name Nixon. I'm not going to bring up Nixon who, or this like, but think about what happened to a fellow named Nixon, right? And it was like hexed in a sense. His life was hexed. He may have caused this trouble himself, but then again, maybe just the environment creeped up on him, because maybe all the people in his position do these same kind of things that he did to create this karma for himself. But you can see he attracted a name that created this karma, and or created a pattern for this karma to take place, and it did take place. And he may not have handled it correctly. Then again, he may have handled it just the way he was supposed to. So you can see, and then M is financial losses through maybe physical health problems, or it could be problems in marriage, problems, in like divorces, things like this. D is usually, look at all the letters, all the words that start with D. It's devastation, disaster, death, you name it. There's a lot of things that really create loss with the letter D. So the letter D is like, if you can picture a dam where the water is just stops, Dam starts with D. So D delays things, starts with D. You see, so this, and it can be devastating to the bank account as well, because it creates either deception, another D word, or something else that would bring financial loss to the person with living through the D. So you can see, you find out a lot of things about letters, and not just by looking at this book, but if you investigate letters a little bit and try to find out as much as you can, by looking at even the Hebrew letters. The Hebrew letters